I've mentioned previously that some of the themes of the Yoga Vasishta are standard plot devices in Hollywood movies. One theme that's popular in particular in science fiction movies is that of the artificial life form. We might have a robot that appears human, an android. There's usually some dramatic interest to what extent this android is human, and to what extent that this android is a machine. So we have the character of Data in Star Trek The Next Generation. This is a machine that wants to find out what it is to be human. What is the difference between Data and a human being? And is it possible for Data to become a human being? Also in this particular television series, Star Trek The Next Generation, we have this beaming technology. This beaming technology allows your material form to be turned into pure energy and then transmitted to another location. So your energy pattern is transmitted to another location and reconstituted as matter. So for a short time you're existing purely as a pattern of energy. Now there's no reason why that pattern shouldn't be copied. Just as you can copy a piece of software, you could copy an energy pattern and then make an identical copy of that person. I don't know if this plot line was actually ever used, but it's a question of some philosophical interest. Who would then be the original if Captain Picard is beamed from one place to another, and a copy of that pattern is made and beamed to another place? How would we know which one was the copy and which one was the original? So we had this problem with Data. Can Data become human? But now we've got two Captain Picards based on the same energy pattern. One of these energy patterns is a copy of the other. But it doesn't really matter, because just like when you copy a DVD or a CD, there isn't anything to tell you. There isn't anything intrinsic to the pattern which tells you that one's a copy. Both Captain Picards will have the sense that they're the real one, just as you have the sense that you're the real you. Both Captain Picards will have this as part of their energy pattern, that they're the real Captain Picard. And of course, you don't need to confine your tampering with just making a copy of an energy pattern. You can make changes with it, you can tinker with it. You could put in characteristics of a fictional character, like Sherlock Holmes or his nemesis, Professor Moriarty. And this idea was used in holodeck stories. The holodeck was where you had a holographic creation made out of light, but which also gave tactile feedback, haptic feedback. Haptic is the term for relating to the sense of touch. So to all intents and purposes you were in a real environment, but one which you knew had been programmed, and it could be switched off at any time unless there was a fault in the circuitry or something. So that was a plot device. The program couldn't be switched off and you were trapped in this fabricated world. And occasionally some of the holograms, some of the entities in the holodeck realized that they weren't real, and they were actually confined to one room, even though they could look out a window and see a city landscape. But it was all happening in just one room. and they were artificial. Or were they? They didn't feel artificial. They were just told that they were artificial. But they felt as real as you or me or Captain Picard's double or Data. And occasionally, one of these holograms might just be smart enough to escape the confines of the holodeck. Professor Moriarty managed to do this. Professor Moriarty realized that he was a hologram and that he was constricted to the holodeck, but he figured out a way out and managed to escape and go forth into the universe. So all these things are to do with examining our existential status. And I've been talking in terms of fiction, but in my dreams every night, I wonder about the status of some of the people in my dreams. They seem to be independent. They seem to be real. I don't have any control over them. They're as real as you, perhaps. The psychologist might tell me that the people in my dream are a reflection of my psyche. But that doesn't help me at all. Sometimes I don't even appear in my own dreams. I might as well be watching something on television, and I might be getting emotionally involved in it, even though I'm not there. So a dream could just be like watching television. Maybe it's got something to do with my psyche, maybe not. In the same way, the sort of programs I watch on television have got something to do with my psyche. Otherwise I probably wouldn't be watching them. And we're told that there's no difference between waking and dreaming. So perhaps the relationship between me and those in my dreams is the same relationship between me and you and everybody else that's walking around.